All right, I saw Strange World 3 days ago, and it's already been a week after it's released, and it's flopping at the box office. And on the reason why, this movie was terribly marketed, to be honest with you. And everyone knows that. Thank you, Bob Chapek, and thank God he got fired. And I say a big screw you to him because once he thinks animation is just for kids, not for adults, I say a big screw you to you, man. So with all that said, let's talk about Strange World. This was a film that didn't receive as many positive reviews as the other Disney films came out, and yeah, I can kind of see why. However, I'm not saying that's a bad thing for myself because I really, really like this movie. In fact, I actually did kind of love it. It was a lot of fun. It has great animation. It has a good cast of characters, very likable characters. Um, it has it's a really good twist at the end of the film. I'll think the voice acting is great. I also think it's very creative. It reminds you of Atlantis: The Lost Empire and on Treasure Planet in 3D animation. So the basically the story is about there's a planet going to their home, the main character's home is like going to die because their energy source is like dying out. So they have to the main character Searcher, voiced by Jake Gyllenhaal, has to go off on an adventure with Lucy Liu's character, and they come across his long lost father, voiced by Dennis Quaid, and his family that comes along his wife, and his son Ethan. And I'm talking about Searcher's wife and his son Ethan, and they have to figure out what's going on with their world itself, and they come across, and much like Atlantis: The Lost Empire, they find an underworld. They're flying in a giant like a giant ship was almost like the Great Fox from Star Fox 64. Well, almost. And they're like going through like this big trench or whatever. It's kind of like in Atlantis: The Lost Empire. Like it's almost like a grease trap, like the grease trap in the sink. Have you seen? And there's like these monsters flying around attacking the ship or whatever. And once they're flying inside of the thing, I was like to myself, it's only a grease trap. It's only a grease trap. It's just like in a sink. It's only a grease trap. It's only like a grease trap. It's like in a sink. That's what I was kind of saying. All my friends and my buddy next to me was kind of laughing. And once they're out of that trench, they're in this big, big world. No, that's the Strange World. And from that, we see some really cool looking creatures and creative landscapes, creative monsters, a whole bunch. Basically, I will say that as much as I did kind of love the movie, I did have a couple problems with it. 1.5 at least. One big problem with the film, and sadly it is kind of a big one, it is the story itself. It does feel like yet another typical sci-fi environmental adventure film like Atlantis. Because we've seen this story done before, but there's a very clever twist around the last third of the film. And when I first saw it, I'm like, that's actually kind of clever. I actually think, it's basically the energy. Let's just say like this energy source is sort of similar to something like the crystals in Atlantis. And what do you call it? And at first, I thought there was going to be a bad guy of the film, but luckily they didn't. But they still kind of go that typical route where they're like they sound like they're like crazy or whatever, and they have to send them to a brig or whatever. Yeah, I've seen this stuff before. But it doesn't last very long. The other problem I have with the film, well, actually no. But does that make it a bad story? Wait, no. I don't think it's a bad story. It's a good story, but it's it's just a little weak. But luckily that clever twist did make it at least worth it. on why they did a story like this. But it's still not perfect, though. And plus, I do really like, but luckily the comedy in this film does get a good amount of laughs. They're not great laughs like I've seen in other Disney films, but it's still pretty noticeable how, a lot of these jokes do land, but they're not, but I don't think there was anything in the film that was a burst out laughter, or for me. I've seen funnier Disney movies out there this year, and other funnier movies this year. So the good stuff, like I said before, it has great animation, very likable characters, great voice acting. Jake Gyllenhaal does a great job as the main characters. No, actually, no, sorry. Oh yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm sorry. The last problem I have with it is that there's a little bit too much of arguments going on with the family, like particularly with either as an argument between the searcher and his son Ethan, or a big argument going on with him and his father Jaeger. Or yeah, it doesn't happen too damn often, but when it does happen, it does stick out like a sore thumb. Now let's talk about the good stuff very quickly. The animation is great. The characters are very likable despite some of those stupid arguments. Yeah, those scenes are really stupid, but when it's not being that way, it is. Well, they are still pretty likable characters. But yeah, it does. But yeah, like in the words of my friend Sean on YouTube, on Sean Andrews, I think his name is. He said it was like, it infuriates him or whatever, if I'm saying it right. But it is pretty frustrating. About these arguments, but aside from that, I really think the animation is great. The characters are likable. The story, while weak, but still, still good. And the humor is good. And the adventure itself is a ton of fun to watch. That's the best thing about the film. The best thing is the animation, the voice acting, and the action scenes, and the adventure. So that's what does make me kind of love the movie overall. Also, if I had to say it, I probably place it pretty low on the list of my least favorite Disney animated movies, because I've seen better ones out there, or that I personally declare to be the best. One of the best. But yeah, I really enjoyed this film, but of all these animated films, this is one of my least favorite ones, but I definitely really enjoyed it for what it was. Would I see it again? Yeah. If you had the time to see it in the theaters, go ahead and check it out. But I guess you probably won't. But hopefully, I bet this film will get a cult following like Atlantis or Treasure Planet. And if you are looking for a 3D animated film version of this, I say go ahead and give this one a watch. So, that's it. And if you have seen the film, what did you think? Comment below. Follow me on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. Please subscribe and share the video. And I am Justin the Bostonian, and I will see you later. Take care.